Welcome to SharpenTheHustle.com podcast with Jesse Miller. We're working hard is a given, but results are how we measure success. We interview successful business owners that'll help you sharpen your hustle.
Awesome. What's up, everybody? Welcome to SharpenTheHustle.com podcast. It's your host, Jesse Miller, and it's my boy, Austin Jackson. And
hey, guys.
This dude is he's top notch, man. You guys are going to love it. If you're in the hustle and grind, man, he's way beyond that. So, man, Austin is the president of an oil field service company and a construction company, and he's got some cool projects that he's working on. So let's jump in. Austin, man, tell us the story about how you started your oil field service company.
Okay. Long story short, I've been doing oil and gas since I was 17. I started pulling buttons for a guy in a shop.
What's pulling buttons?
Pulling buttons on a drill bit. So you got drill bits and you got buttons and you weld a stick to them and you beat them out with a hammer.
Nice.
It's just what I did. It's basically the
grunt work.
Yeah. It's a low man on totem pole, and just started doing that. And with that being said, I was trying to go to school at the same time. So I was doing that in the summers to pay for school or whatever I could do to pay for school. I went to school because everybody told me I needed it. Yeah. And then I couldn't do it.
Yeah. Why not, man? What was the blocks there?
I just wasn't a scholar athlete, or a student. I wasn't a scholar student athlete. Yeah, I was an athlete. I played sports, but I wasn't a scholar student. I didn't like homework. I didn't like to sit still. I don't like to read. It's just something I didn't like to do.
Yeah. Did you have dyslexia or anything, or was it
No, I didn't have dyslexia. I mean, I got diagnosed with ADHD, which is very common. Yeah. I've never to this day taken medicine for it, or I refused. I was like, you know what? I'm going to use this to my favor. Yeah. And so that's kind of what I do today.
That's awesome.
But that's how I got into the oil and gas industry. And then from there, I just kind of kept doing things, summer jobs, helping people out on rig, about whatever I needed to do to make ends meet. That's what I did all through school.
Yeah.
I was on that 7-year program. So it took me longer than average. In school. Yeah. I had to take semesters off here and there. I mean, it was expensive, So, and I took, I tried to take loans here and there. I didn't have any credit. I didn't have anybody to fall back on. Yeah. To give me a cosigner or to give me any money either.
Yeah. So you didn't have family support.
No, I didn't have family support really at all my whole life. And it was really a struggle. I struggled with it a lot until. I decided to go off alone and make a name for myself.
It's so funny, man. So many people use that as an excuse today to not do something. And can you talk to that for a second?
I can talk to it specifically because I've got a criminal record. I come from no money. Yeah. I've never even been co-signed for on a vehicle. Wow. And it was really frustrating because I see all my friends are getting their parents to co-sign or whatever, and I just didn't have that. Yeah. And for a while I struggled with that big time, but now I wouldn't change it for anything because it taught me so much, how to make things happen, how to never give up, how to keep going no matter what the odds are against you. And so, everyone told me, hey, you've got, several charges. You're never going to be able to be successful. You'll never be able to get a job. I want to be a firefighter for the longest time. Had incidents where I got in trouble and I couldn't be a firefighter. I was just like, man, nothing is going right for me. Everything was good. I was volunteering at the church. If it weren't for the good Lord, I don't know where I'd be right now. Yeah. So that's a big part of my story. But also, it's been 8 years ago, and what happened is, I had an awesome girlfriend, had a decent job. I was in the construction industry. I was selling roofs is what I was doing. Oil and gas took a bust in 2009, and that's what I was doing. I talked to her. She had a couple years of school left and was going to have a zillion student loans, like I don't know how many thousands of dollars. And so I was like, okay, well, obviously what I'm doing now, I'm not getting ahead. I'm not going to be able to provide for a family. I'm not going to be able to do the things I want to do. So with that being said, I was like, you know what? Like, I'm going to figure something out. So through the grapevine, I heard there was some work in Pennsylvania in the Marcellus, and I didn't know anybody up there. I didn't have a job, but I thought I could get one because of my experience, and I just knew I was a good worker. So I talked to, my few family members. I talked to my significant other. I was like, hey, listen, like, I've got to do something. Like, there's a lot of opportunity up here. I think about going up there. And everyone kind of heard me out, and I talked to my few friends about it, and they're like, yeah, it sounds great. And but no one was there really like super supportive. They're like, maybe not. Well, with that being said, a week later, I had all my stuff packed in my truck in Rubbermaid totes, and I loaded my front of my truck up. I loaded my dog up, who at the time was very, very small, and I drove to Pennsylvania.
Nowhere to stay, no job,
nowhere to stay,
no connections. You didn't know anybody, right?
I didn't know anybody. I was kind of nervous, and then I found out there was a guy that I knew from the past that was up there working. So I got his contact when I got there. I said, "Hey, man, you know anybody hiring?" Keep in mind, it's 24 hours away from home. My insurance on my vehicle is due, so I paid that. With that being said, I had about $450 when I started this trek to Pennsylvania. It was Towanda, Pennsylvania, but a little bitty town. So I get there, and it cost me about $300 in gas. Yeah. So I've got about $150 with me, and I'm 2 months behind on my truck payment. I wasn't going to say that, but I'll just go ahead in a minute.
Yeah, man.
I was not doing that good. That's where I was.
That's where a lot of our audience is today.
So I mean, I'm 2 months behind on my truck payment. I get up there. I put in applications for 3 days straight.
Yeah,
and I don't get any calls. And I'm like, okay, my bank account's dwindling.
What was the status of the oil field at this time?
It was very good. It was very good.
So it was optimism.
It was very optimistic. There's a lot of work there. There was, probably 40 rigs running in that area within a 60-mile section. So with that being said, I just thought it would work. Long story short, I slept in my truck for about 3 days now, and I'm getting real tired of sleeping in my truck. The back seat of an extended cab pickup gets real small. So long story short, I'm paying for a shower at the hotel. It's $8 a day for a shower. So I'd go in there to shower and I'd work out because I needed something to do because I didn't have a job. Yeah. So, but my money started dwindling, and the rest of the week went by and I still didn't have a job. And it was day 9. I'm sitting in a place called the Riverstone, Towanda, Pennsylvania. It's like a little bar and grill. A guy comes in. He's a manager for a service company. And he says, what are you doing, man? What are you drinking water for? And I'm like, so I began to tell him my story. Hey, this is what I thought was going to happen. I was trying to come do this. Now I've got like $80 to my name, and I can't get home. So I'm here. I don't know what I'm going to do, Yeah. And that night, the guy's name was Ken Jackson. My name's Austin Jackson. We're no relation whatsoever, but I just thought that was kind of crazy how that worked out. But he said, you know what? Do you have a truck? I said, absolutely. He said, what do you want to do? I said, work. Whatever you need me to do. I've got to prepare my future. Growing up, we went without sometimes, and I didn't like that. I didn't like it that my friends had the brand new baseball glove, $300 glove, and I had whatever we could find, and not that, it built my character. It's not that it was a bad thing, but at the time, when you're younger, you don't see it like that.
Yeah, man, it's hard to see past the pain.
So, but with that being said, it all worked out. So anyways, he said, you know what, you got a truck, you got insurance. I said, yeah, absolutely, I'll do whatever you need to do. And he said, okay, why don't you show up tomorrow? Show up tomorrow, we'll put you to work. We'll fill out the application.
Can you describe that feeling when he said that, man?
It was a surreal feeling, and honestly, I didn't believe it.
Yeah.
I was like, yeah, right. This is just another deal. I don't know what I'm going to do. I'm just going to sit up here and be homeless. I didn't know what was going to happen.
Yeah.
And so
man, some of you guys are waiting on that. You're going to experience it pretty quick, man. Just stay at it. Stay grinding.
You can't stop. Man. I didn't have any quit.
I was backed up and made it
happen. Who knows what I'd be doing?
No, man.
I wouldn't even have money to get home. So after that, I went that night. I splurged and I went to Wendy's and I got like 4 cheeseburgers because I was on a budget, guys. Yeah. So I'm like, so I went to Wendy's that night. I splurged. I got me like 4 cheeseburgers. I went and paid my $8 for my shower. I shaved. I got cleaned up. I was ready. And that night I'm sitting there in my truck and just kind of weeping, and just like, God, what is going on? I'm trying to get emotional, but this is a part of my life that was a big deal. So
good stuff.
With that being said, I'm sitting in my truck and I'm like, God, I don't have anything to give you. Like, I don't have any money. I don't have any cool talents. Like, I'm just a nobody who is down to $50 to his name and might have a job tomorrow. And I said, if you just help me through this, like, no matter what, like, I will give back to you. I'm going to make this right. The next day I started working. And with that company, I worked there for a few weeks in the yard, and within 3 weeks they moved me to the field. And these guys were working in the yard. They're working 8:30 in the morning till 4:30. But I needed more hours than that. I needed to do more. I didn't have any money. I had bill collectors. I had my truck payment. I was trying to get ahead. So with that being said, I started at 7. I got it okay. He said, you work as much as you want. I started at 7, and then I'd work till 8 to 10 at night. And what I would do is I'd stack pipe during the day. I'd move trailers, whatever. And then at night, I'd go in and weld the covers for the wellheads. They told me I could do it. So I was putting in the first probably 4 months, 12 to 15-hour days. And I got my first check, and it was $1,100. And I was so excited. I was like, oh, my gosh, I can go eat. I can do this. I can do that. And then with that being said, I just kept going, and I kept moving up. And then within 4 months, I was running a well. I was doing flowback for them. I was running a well. And they said, do you know what you're doing? I said, no, I don't. I've never done it before. And with that being said, they put me out there anyway. They said, you got some more strength. And they just kind of threw me out there and said, make it happen.
You took the initiative, man. You jumped in.
I jumped in, and I made a lot of mistakes, and I had to figure a lot of things out. And I crawled inside of separators and stuff, which is very, very dangerous, and you shouldn't do that. But I didn't know what to do. So with that being said, some of the guys from the energy company were like, hey, what's your name? And they started asking me questions, and they started asking me, what my experience was. And I just told them, I said, man, listen, I said, I work for these guys. I'm just trying to make something of myself up here. And with that being said, I had a company man take me under his wing, and I went on every job with him.
So explain what a company man is for people that aren't familiar with the field.
So a company man or consultant is a guy that runs the location. He runs the whole location.
He's over what happens at that
location. Yeah. So with that being said, he took me under his wing.
So a mentor saw what was inside of you and said, man, let's do this.
Right.
Let's go.
And honestly, he didn't even talk to me that much. He just said, hey, I want you on every location. You're the only one I want doing my jobs. And I didn't really understand it at the time, but I was like, hey, this is, steady work. I'll take it. So with that being said, the next 4 months, I went on every single job that guy did. And if they tried to send somebody else out, they couldn't, because they would recommend me. And I was like, man, that's awesome.
Yeah, you cater to the you cater to the company, man.
Yeah, so they had to.
Yeah.
So it was awesome. And it a lot of people were bitter about it. And they're like, why is he getting every job with this guy? But I just kept working. I kept my head down. I didn't talk to anybody. I wasn't trying to make friends. I was there to move forward.
Looking back at it, what did that company man see in you, man?
I think he saw, not my knowledge, not that I was a brain scientist, it's not that I was super intelligent, that I could do anything crazy. I think he saw that I got up early. I stayed late. Yeah. I did whatever we had to do to make it go. You know what I mean? I set up his location. That's not my job. Yeah. But the thing is it wasn't my job, but I didn't care, because I'm there to make this whole thing work, because that's what provides for me.
That's beautiful, man.
So
it's beautiful.
With that being said, that's where I was. I didn't care what I had to do. I helped the coil tubing unit rig up. I helped, the flowback guys. I helped the rasp guys. I helped the tarp guys that lay the tarp on location. I didn't care. Yeah. I did everything without griping, because I was thankful to have a job. Yeah. I was thankful to have money coming in. Yeah. Because for a time, for that 9 days, Jesse, I thought I was going home. Yeah. True story.
No, absolutely, man.
So I, with that being said, we were doing perf jobs. Then we moved to drill outs, which is where you drill plugs. I did that. I had a guy that was a flow hand for several years, and he trained me and took me under his wing and helped me. And it was phenomenal. He taught me a lot of stuff. So with that being said, now I have 2 phases of the oil and gas production side. I'm doing completions, and now I'm going to production. So let me rephrase that. I got 2 phases of completions. Yeah. Now I moved to production, and I have all 3 phases, and I can go work anywhere. Yeah. So with that being said,
explain that a little bit more in depth to the audience, because I know there's a lot of people on here that don't understand the oil field.
Right.
So let's talk about the process. So
basically, you have a frac. Okay. That's a process.
Let's go to drilling. Let's go. Okay. So basically, a landman finds a piece of land that has potential.
It has potential.
They purchase it. They drill a well, and then after the well is drilled.
Okay. After the well is drilled, they'll put a wellhead on it. Yeah. They'll come in and they'll frack it. Yeah. They'll go down and do stages where they shoot out into the formation. Yeah. And basically, with that being said, they'll pump sand and gel and keep them open. And then from there, we'll come back in after they do the frac. We'll drill the plugs out, which is what seals it.
Okay.
So after we do that, then it starts producing. We start flowing it back.
Nice.
Okay.
So that's the flow back section.
That's the flow back section. Right. From there, it turns over to the oil company.
Nice.
And there's a lot more to it, but that's just short term. Right. Just throw it together so you kind of understand what goes on.
So when you say you helped outside of your tasks or what you were, talk about that a little bit, man. Why? I know it was from thankfulness, but did you learn a lot in that process? I mean, you learned how it all worked together.
Oh, I learned a lot because you have a frac crew, okay, and there's 10,000 unions to hammer up, okay.
Unions where the pipe
comes together. Yeah. With that being said, as flowback, quote unquote, I could sit in my truck. That's not my job.
Right.
But the thing is that I go out there and help the guys swing a hammer, help them get their job rigged up, and then they can go sit down. Yeah. They're very, very thankful for that. Therefore, it makes your name, which is all I have. Yeah. I don't have family money. I don't have money. I don't have a trust fund. All I have is my name. Yeah. So I go help them, and they tell other people. Yeah. You know what I mean? And then also I learn about part of the frac and how their pumps work and what kind of gel they're using. And you learn about the sand. You learn too. Yeah. And wisdom is very, very powerful. Yeah. And the more wisdom you have, the more powerful you are.
That's awesome.
And so with that being said, I was doing a little more than I had to do, but I learned from it as well.
Man, I can't imagine how often there's strife created when people are only doing their job and they're not looking at how it relates to the next stages. I mean, how often did you see stuff blow up in the oil field? Man, crews not working together well.
We saw, when I was up there, there's a guy that opened a blind ball valve on the backside with it, 22 pounds on it. And it's in Chesapeake. You can look it up. And it shot him about 100 yards or 100 feet across location. Wow. 12-inch trench through the rock on location.
So understanding is literally life and death out there.
Life and death. You open a ball, 20 pounds will break your arm. Yeah. And we're dealing with 10,000 pounds. Wow. So, you need to be careful. Yeah. And so my deal is the more I knew, the better I felt and more comfortable I was. Yeah. All
right. So let's get to the transition of how you started your company. Up until this point, you were working for someone else,
for someone else. And then there was 2 companies, actually, and there were sister companies, and I worked back and forth for them. Okay. But long story short, a guy was like, hey, I can get you home. I can get you working in Oklahoma. And I'm like, really? And keep in mind, I've been away from my family for several years now. And at this point in time, I've been working 10 months straight without a day off, 7 days a week. And so I was ready. I needed a break. I needed to get home. So I get home.
I'm guessing your bank account looked a little better.
Back. No. Okay. At this time, after a few years in, I had all my debts paid off. Yeah. Everything I owned was paid for. Yeah. I had money in the bank. Yeah. I was moving forward. I ended up investing in some properties. Yeah. I started putting my money into other things because I knew oil and gas is very volatile. And so I'd already started setting myself up.
It's awesome. Man.
So
and this was all as an employee. This is not
as an employee, and I had, $40,000 in student loans. Yeah. I had a $30,000 truck. I had a rental property that was paid for, probably worth $70,000. Yeah. And I had a house of my own that I had acquired. It wasn't paid for, but it was my house. So all I had was a house payment. Yeah. So, which is super cool. But anyways, with that being said, I got back to Oklahoma. I met with a guy, super cool guy, love the Lord. Things were going great. Okay, he said, I'll put you to work. Well, for 2 months, I didn't get any work. I was starting to get nervous. So with that being said, he finally put me to work. I started working for him. I don't know if he saw the same thing, but it was very grateful because he was like, hey, man, you're doing a lot. Like, I appreciate it. Like, thanks for working hard. Like, keep it up. I started getting more and more work. He started putting more and more on my plate. At this time, he moved me to him. I was a quote-unquote manager is what I was. And this is still for a different company, but it's here in Oklahoma. Yeah. So I was a manager. Well, then I started traveling to different states. So I started going, Oklahoma, New Mexico, Texas, Wyoming. Started traveling all over. There was a location that I was on, and the whole production facility, which is what separates the oil and gas, was trash. It was flooded with sand. The pumper lease operator who's supposed to take care of it wasn't taking care of it. So when I was out there, a guy that come out there that was in charge of the facilities had talked to me and said, what do you think's going on with this battery? I said, man, listen, like, I don't know everything, but I know that this is broken, this is broken, this is broke, and I can fix it. I'm out here. That's not my job, but I don't mind fixing it. He gave me the go-ahead to fix it. Whatever you need, here's the number. Get it out here. You take care of it. You get this location going, be phenomenal. At this time, this location is doing production. It's producing 28 barrels a day. Okay. So, well, that's pretty good, but not near what it should be doing. Yeah. So with that being said, and then replace 2 submersibles. So with that being said, I went through the knockout, separator, the heater treater. I went and replaced lines, dump valves, check valve. I mean, I went through the whole battery. Yeah. Okay. By the end of it, I was selling this well for about 40 days. And by the end of it, it was producing over 60 barrels a day.
Nice.
So with that being said, a few things happened. Okay. And they pulled the ESP. They changed it out because it was wore out because there was so much junk. It was just pushing fluid and it couldn't go anywhere. But anyways, it burned up the motor. So long story short, we turned that well around and this guy was come to me and said, Austin, you're released today. I said, okay. When you hear that, it's kind of like, man.
That was your boss at the time?
No, this was the guy for the energy company.
Okay.
He said, Austin, you're released for now. I said, okay. And I said, man, I appreciate, all the time out here, because I was making good money. And I said, if you need anything, let me know. He said, let me tell you something. He said, you need to open your own company. At this time, my life is getting better. I've got a little bit of money in the bank. I don't have really any debt, but a house payment. I'm making good money, and when I say good money, I don't know. Do I need to?
You can say it if you want.
So I think good. When I think good money, I think 150 a year is good money.
That's take home. That's not.
Take home. I think if you work for somebody and you take home 150 a year, I think that's great money.
Yeah.
Everyone's different, but I mean that's pretty phenomenal.
Yeah.
In my
there's
opinion.
a lot of people that
don't make
about generating revenue, but it ain't hitting the bottom line.
Exactly. So long story short, I thought it was phenomenal. I've never made that much money in my life. I never dreamed I'd make that much money.
Yeah.
So, but he told me that, and I said, man, I'm doing great. And so I really took it in and thought about it. And I crunched the numbers, and I saw what the other guys were making, and I was like, wow, if I could do that, I could make, instead of $150,000, I could make $1.5 million if I owned it. Well, that's cool. So then it really got my wheels turning because I can really provide for my family. I can better my life. I can make sure my kids don't have to go without.
Yeah.
I was excited.
Yeah.
So with that being said, I thought about it for a few weeks and I called him and I said, listen, man, this is how much money I got. I don't really know if I can do it. And what do you think? This guy, he was like, go for it. I'll give you this work. So I said, okay. So I did it, and I went for it, and it was really tough.
Yeah.
And I started with not a significant amount of money, but I made it work.
Yeah.
And I got to negative in my account before I got paid from the oil and gas company.
Yeah.
It takes 45, 90 days sometimes to get paid.
Yeah.
I was real nervous.
Yeah, that's something you don't learn until you're a boss,
I didn't learn that. So each week I'm paying these guys and I don't have anything coming in. I'm getting real nervous.
Yeah.
Finally got a check, and from there it's just been growth and moving forward and getting good people involved, and it's been phenomenal. Yeah. If I didn't have the people I had, I wouldn't be where I am today.
It's awesome.
I've got a phenomenal team in oil and gas.
Yeah, let's talk about that. So do you have business partners in your current business?
I didn't do any partners. And probably 3 years ago or so, I had a guy that I saw a lot of potential in.
Yeah,
and
you saw the same stuff.
I saw the same stuff that they saw in me, and I said, "Listen, man," I said, "the business is worth this. This is what buy-in would be if you were to buy in.
Yeah,
if you buy in for a tenth of that, I'll give you a part ownership, just because I knew what he had, and I wanted him to have a piece of it."
Yeah.
And with that being said, a year later, he actually worked 50 out of 52 weeks that year and had the money to buy it.
Yeah, that's awesome.
So, I wasn't going to give it to him because no one gave it to me.
Yeah.
So even though he might have got it, even though he got it for next to nothing, I don't care because it's not about how much money I can make. It's what I can do with it, who I can bring up, and the legacy I'll leave behind.
Yeah.
So with that being said, now he is a partner, and he's made his investment back. He's made more money. He's killing it. He's doing awesome. And so that's the only, I guess, partner that I have. Yeah. And he's more like a brother than anything.
So how much time do you spend weekly in the operations of that business?
man, I might spend 2 hours.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Entrepreneurs, that's the dream.
Maybe 2 hours.
Build a business.
Build
a business in a way that you don't have to be tied to it all the time. Now, you still make decisions in it. You still guide. You still direct, right?
I spend 2 hours on the phone is what I'm saying.
Yeah.
And you know, once a month or every few months, I go out on location and I check on the guys. If I needed to go on location, if I need to do something, I will do it.
Yeah.
I will do it. I'm not saying I only spend this because that's all I want to do.
Right.
I'll spend as much as they need.
Right.
If they need 40 hours a week from me, that's what I'll put in.
But the key is you don't have to.
But I don't have to.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
I've got a phenomenal team.
Yeah.
They're all in the same mindset. They're all moving forward. With that being said, that's what makes it go.
Yeah.
And with that being said, it freed up opportunity for me to do another venture in construction and real estate and other things.
Yeah.
And so now I put my time into that. Yeah. And so now with construction, it's going the exact same way well service is. Yeah. And with that being said, my time is dwindling weekly with that as well.
Yeah.
Because my dream is, you know, to have 50 to 75 mom accounts and work the farm and volunteer in the church. Man. That's what I'm going to do. I'm pretty simple. So but if I can have these businesses and they do substantially well and I can put minimal time in them, that's what you want to do.
All right. So let's talk about that for a second, man. Okay. I know there's a lot of you guys with the question, how do you get your business to operate for you? Let's talk about how you've done that. Let's talk about what you monitor in the business. I mean, because you have to look at something, right? I mean, you look 100%. At some reports. You look at
reports. You look at financials.
Yeah.
You really need to be involved in your team.
Yeah.
You need to promote them. You need to be invested in them and what's going on in their lives. If they need something, help them get it.
Yeah.
Help them reach their goals that they're trying to get. If they want a new house, okay, how are we going to get that house?
Yeah.
Are you going to work 13 weeks out of 30? What are you going to do to get the house, to get the down payment, to get it going?
It's awesome.
Austin, how do I do this? How do I do that? Be invested in them because honestly, if you don't have your people, you don't have anything.
Yeah.
So I can go on a well and make $150,000 a year tomorrow.
Right.
But to see the big picture and to want to do 20 times that, you have to have a team. And your team is everything. If you're not pouring into your team, you're not going to ever have anything.
That's so powerful, man.
You can be selfish and you can think me, and I just want money, and it'll never work.
Yeah.
You know, I chased the dollar for a long time, and I made good money.
So let's talk about that though, because is that what you monitor in your business as well? I mean, are those the reports you look at? Is it the financials?
Oh, I definitely look at financials.
Yeah.
I definitely look at financials.
What are you looking for there?
Man, profit and loss.
Okay.
Are our margins where they need to be?
Yeah.
And if they're not, we need to adjust them.
Yeah.
You know, if we're paying these guys this much, we're making this much, we're good. Yeah. You know, so say I got a manager that says, hey, I want to give this guy a raise. Okay, well, how much of a raise are you talking? $10 an hour. Okay, well, then that puts our margins at here.
Right.
So
you help them think through that based on logical sense and numbers.
Right. Hey,
I see this so often, man. A business owner doesn't know their numbers, and they're just trying to figure it out, man. They're guessing.
Yeah, you can't guess. It's not a guessing game. You'll end up losing big time. But they call and they have a question. They say, hey, what should I rent this for a day, or what should I charge this for? And you help them, and you get them involved, and you tell them the numbers, and you tell them what's going on. And this is your managers, your people that pour into your team underneath them. Yeah. But you pour into your general manager, you pour into your supervisor, you pour into your guys at the bottom. You don't leave any stone unturned. And if they have a problem, if they have a question, maybe they call you just to say, hey, I'm having a rough day.
Yeah.
Talk to them because they're out there making you money.
Yeah.
So my deal is that no matter if they're the superintendent or they're the janitor, I treat them the same because I've been both.
Yeah.
You know, I've been the low man, I've been the high man, and big deal. We're different phases in life.
Yeah.
But the big thing I would say is pour into your team, care about them, love on them, make sure they have what they need. Obviously, you can't give them everything because then your business will go under.
Yeah.
But give them as much as you can because that's what really matters.
Yeah.
You know, and if I'm not putting much time into it, you know, unless I have to, that's a pretty good place to be.
Yeah.
So that's the only thing I would say is pour into your team. Care about them, love on them, treat them like they're your brothers, they're your family, because that's what makes your whole business go.
Yeah.
You know, it's not anything I did.
Yeah.
You know, I may have started it. Yeah, I may be the quote unquote owner.
Yeah.
But if I didn't have them, I wouldn't have a business.
Yeah.
So you got to realize that. Don't try to say that it's all you. I built this from nothing. I did this, I did that. It's not you. Your team is doing that.
Man, if you're saying that, you're stuck.
And so that is the thing. You're going to always be stuck. If you can't ever realize how valuable your team is, you'll never be anywhere.
Dude,
and
so that's powerful. Man.
That's just the truth.
It's powerful.
And maybe that's not proper or what I'm supposed to say
in
this webcast.
No, it's real.
It's just real talk.
It's awesome, man.
It's real talk.
No, absolutely.
And I'm pretty simple. I'm just telling you the basics. And it's not hard to do this.
Yeah.
Anyone can do it, especially if I can do it. If I can do it, anyone can do it. And that's how I feel. So you just got to put more time into the next step. So if you want to do it and I want to do it, I'll have to get up earlier and go to bed later than you.
Yeah.
That's just a fact.
Yeah.
So, but anyways, that's what really, for me, I think is important.
I think, we're talking to a lot of people that are looking for the success. If you had to tell them one thing to grab onto, never give up, what would you tell them, man?
I tell them exactly that.
Okay.
Never give up.
Okay.
If you're looking for it, keep looking.
Yeah.
Until you find it. That's awesome. It. You just said it.
Yeah.
And when they tell you, hey, they say, Jesse, I want you to be my coach. Okay. I want you to be a business coach. And they say, I'm looking for this. I'm looking for that. I mean, exactly what I would tell them, say, keep looking.
Yeah. Keep
going.
Grind, get it.
The more fishing poles you have in the water, the more fish you're going to catch.
Yeah.
I mean, you need to keep moving forward.
Yep.
Never look back. You're never going to move forward looking back.
Yeah.
So leave your past behind you, whatever it may be. If you come from a struggle family, if you come from a criminal background, if you come from whatever it is, always move forward. Always take a step forward every day.
Drop the excuse, roll forward.
Yeah, I'm not big on excuses.
Roll forward.
If you have an excuse, I pretty much have an answer. I can say, okay. Well, I remember that time when I thought that same thing, because I went through that.
Yeah.
Well, Austin, I have a felony. Okay. Well, so do I. Austin, my family doesn't have money. Okay. Well, neither does mine.
Yeah.
It's not, I'm nothing special, guys.
Yeah.
I just worked harder than the next guy. That's all it is.
Yeah. All right. So we've talked a lot about the past, man. Tell me what you're digging into. What are you looking at right now? What makes you get up out of bed and what you're looking for, man?
Man, now what I look for is teaching people how to make money, teaching other people how to be successful, helping them move forward in life. Okay. Austin, how did you build these multiple businesses to where you can do something else? There's several investment opportunities. I started something. We've got a seminar on the 22nd. It's wealth generators.
Cool.
If you have a significant amount of money, you put it in there, you make money like that. If you don't, there's also a multi-level marketing side of it.
Yeah.
The reason I really started pushing the multi-level marketing side of it is because a guy told me, Austin, you're different. You have money.
Yeah.
I didn't like that comment.
Yeah.
So I'm basically proving a point, saying you don't have to have it to make it.
Yeah.
So basically I'm building something else just to show them.
Yeah.
Yeah,
because you love when people tell you can't do it.
Tell me I can't do something, and I'll show you that I can. So at 31 years old, I'm building another business right now just because.
Yeah.
Just because.
That's awesome.
I don't need it. I'm doing it just because I want to show people that if you hustle and you grind and you get up and you go every single day and you push forward, you can do it.
It's awesome, man.
You owe yourself. I mean, if you order a vacuum on a TV info commercial and they give you a 30-day guarantee, okay, you use it for 2 days and it blows up, you're going to call them and say, hey, I want my money back.
Yeah.
What about all the time you've spent wasting your life, not working hard? Why don't you tell yourself that? Like you owe yourself. Like, I need that time back. Well, you should be mad. You should be mad at yourself for wasting your time. So just like you're mad at the freaking vacuum commercial, you need to be hold yourself accountable and mad at yourself for not getting up early, for not going to bed late, for not doing the extra 10%.
Yeah.
You want to do 70% and be successful? It didn't happen. 96% of millionaires get up before 6 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah.
So if you want to sleep until 10, that's fine, but don't ever expect to make $1 million annually.
It's awesome.
That's how I feel.
It's awesome.
And that's just the facts, And it's harsh and whatever.
We were talking about how much money you wanted to make, and I love the answer, man. It's the answer I think every entrepreneur has. Why don't you tell everybody how much money you want to make?
Jesse asked me this the other day, and I've been very financially blessed, and I'm more than grateful. And he said, Austin, what's your number? How much do you want to make? And I said, I actually don't think I asked that. It was somebody else. We were talking about a conversation you had with the guy who asked what your number. We were talking about
I know.
We were talking about it. We're talking about
it. It's my number too.
Yeah, and so, anyways, we're talking about it, and I said, you know what? More.
Yeah.
That's what I want.
Can you explain that, man? Go into some depth on that.
It's not that I need the money or have to have the money, or that's the only thing that drives me. But why not? Why stop at, so I could have stopped at 150. I could have stopped at 500. You could stop at $1 million. You could stop at 2, 3, 5 million. Whatever you want to stop at. Why stop? What's stopping you? Yeah. What are you going to do? You can only golf, ride a Harley, go to the beach so many times before you're bored. Yeah. I'm not a golfer, first of all. But, you can only ride a motorcycle around all day, every day for maybe a day or two, and you're bored. Yeah. You got to do something different. Yeah. You can only go to Colorado, ride in the mountains, a couple of days, and you're ready to do something different. Yeah. So my deal is that, will I ever stop? Probably not. Yeah. Why?
Once you figure out the game, keep going,
keep
man.
moving forward, And that's the thing. It's so when people ask me, how much money do you need to make to be happy? I'm happy now.
Yeah.
But I'm going to make more money too.
Yeah. So, I think that's one of the things I talk about frequently, that it's just the process is where all the joy is, where you're reaching every day, where you're stepping up and you've got something that you're pursuing. That's where all the fulfillment and the joy comes in. So if you ever stop that, then that stuff disappears with it.
Well, I'll tell you what, the more money I make, the more I can help others. And if you chase the dollar and you have everything that you want, it doesn't make you happy.
Yeah.
I could have a boathouse, a Harley, a four-wheeler, a nice truck, lifted wheels, whatever it is, okay? Whatever you want to have, you can have it. That's not what makes me happy personally. What makes me happy is not the material things. What makes me happy is seeing other people move up in life. Yeah. To watch the guy that is a part owner of my company start at $1,000 a week and now be a partner. To watch him have a nice house, to watch him have a kid, to watch him, he's getting married in November. To watch these things, that's what makes me happy. To be a part of them is what makes me happy. Yeah. Because to know that you can be a part of someone else's journey and help them, that's what makes me happy.
Dude, that's ultimate leadership.
And that's
Building
where
leaders,
I'm at,
man. Building leaders.
And that's it,
awesome.
That's what makes me go.
Well, dude, that's a great note to wrap it up on, man. That was incredible. Thank you for your time. I know these guys got some great value out of that. So looking forward to getting it out. Dude, we appreciate you, man.
All right, brother. I don't know how to turn this thing off.
I got it.
Okay.
You've been listening to SharpenTheHustle.com podcast with Jesse Miller. To learn more about the resources mentioned on today's show, or to listen to past episodes, check out SharpenTheHustle.com.